Stop streaming as one Discord.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another week of racing action here at Invictus Racing League. We're back for another round of Tier 2, and tonight it's time for round number 5 in the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, of course. And I'm glad to be joined once again by my good friend and Tier 1 rival, let's say, and of course my commentating teammate, Bjorn de Boer. How's it going, Bjorn?
It is going fantastic. We have such a beautiful track ahead of us today, the Circuit of the Americas. I love this track, and I'm super excited to see what these Tier 2 drivers can do for us today.
No, absolutely. It really is, in my opinion, one of the great tracks that, of course, it's not a historic one in that sense when you compare it to the likes of Spa, which we had last week round, but it is just, it's got an amazing sense to it. The corners that come at you, the straights for the amazing overtaking action. It just really is, for me, one of a perfect track. So I'm really glad to be able to be commentating on this tonight. And of course, we both had the luxury of racing it, Bjorn. So it's gonna be a fun one to watch tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have our first car out on track, I believe that is the V-Carb of Callum. Yes, it is. And just taking a look at the tire screen, I'm not surprised. I'm sure you aren't as well, Alex. We have Ginger Tiger, who's not out yet, but he has selected the medium tire once again for his first qualifying run.
I wonder what it's gonna take for Ginger to set a soft run on the very first lap. I don't know when that'll happen, but if it does, we'll certainly be here for it. But anyway, we've seen it from the past. It's worked well for Ginger. He really feels comfortable with it, and of course, this week round the two Aston Martin boys are back. Of course, it was Ginger missing out last week. I don't know if that was, maybe that was a cheat code, Bjorn, because of course we were in a sprint race weekend. Maybe that's why he did not race. Maybe he didn't want to use the mediums in the sprint qualies. Ooh, Callum has a little wiggle on his way to begin a lap. Of course, 20 corners around here, 5.5 kilometer track, so decent length, and well, 3.4 miles if you prefer it in that unit. But anyway, we're about to go for a lap, the first lap for the Tier 2 drivers with Callum, the V-Carb driver, and up into turn 1. Very daunting corner, pick your braking point, but he's gone a little bit too deep front, hesitating to rotate, but now down the hill he goes. He comes across some amazing set of corners here in Sector 1, through turn 3, through turn 4, swing that car around through, but be on the caution for track limits. Very easy to pick up an invalidated lap around here. Now rides the curb out of turn 8 and 9, down through here. Gotta have to pick your braking point. This is a very important exit. That'll carry along all the way down into turn 12. Little bit of hesitation on the rear, just having to make a little correction does Callum, as the DRS now wide open. This is going to be a part of the track that's really going to question your straight line speed. If you're struggling on top speed, you might be vulnerable when it comes to the race. And again, a correction from Callum. So that V-Carb is not looking too dialed in yet, and you can just see it there. Oh, he's struggling on the rear grip. Of course, you know, not much rubber laid down yet, so it should improve, but he's absolutely Tokyo drifting this car around the Circuit of the Americas. But now through the infamous turn 17 and 18, the long swooping right-hander, then pick your braking point to snap into turn 19. This is where you want to watch out for track limits. So easily overcooked. He breaks a little bit too late, goes a bit deep. DRS short dash to the line, first lap time. of the session, a 34.9 for Callum. So we could see the track ramp up a bit more, but who else is on the lap, Bjorn?
Who else on a lap? There should be a Ferrari coming across the line at any moment. Now I'm not sure if he's starting a lap. No, Lionel Griesby, setting a 37.8. I'm probably sure that wasn't a hot lap, but DJ Madman going into P2 now with a 33.8, and Kent with a 33.7 as well. Ginger Tiger sets into P3 with a 34.5. But I just wanted to mention something as we were looking at Callum. I've noticed that even during his hot lap in the corners, he's turning off his battery so he can use more on the straights. It's an interesting strategy, and I wonder if it actually helps him or makes him lose time. What do you think, Alex?
Could that be an indication on struggling for pure pace down the straight, maybe? High downforce? That's what my initial response is. Bruce puts in his lap time, and he's followed by Jordan, so the two McLaren boys put it into P5 and P6. But to go back to that, I think that's probably more about deploying it because of the lack of straight line speed, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and what do you think? Maybe he's turning off for the extra grip on the exits, so he doesn't, or he has less a wheel spin. I mean, we did see Callum having a lot of wheel spin on this lap, but could also be a method to reduce wheel spin by, well, giving you less grip, essentially, because you're giving yourself less speed.
Well, if it is for that, we already did see him struggle on the rear already, so I don't want to say it didn't help, but it definitely was some signs of a struggle for him already, but I don't know. I mean, Callum is he's saying in P5, so this was not a bad lap, but there's definitely a lot more lap time for him to find out there with just watching on board with him there. I think he can definitely find some good pace, but I think this is more down to setup, honestly, with the rear. Whether the tyres weren't ready in their right temperature window, something we don't have access to, or unless you do, Bjorn. You've got all the data at your disposal. Hopefully you can maybe give us an indication on if that was ready or not, but no, it looked more down to the fundamentals of the setup, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I only have the tire temperature for a certain amount of drivers who have turned their all of their telemetry to public. So that's only 3 drivers at the moment. But yeah, who also can really improve on their time is DJ Madman, setting a purple sector 1 and setting also a purple sector 2, but losing out 5/10 for purple sector 3 to Kent. It's quite interesting to see. I mean, I think he must have made a mistake somewhere in that last sector.
He could have, but as you were talking, just running on board with Klipskiri there, he puts that Red Bull into P3. Very good lap time from him, a 34.0. So, top 3 separate by around 3/10. That's pretty close, but one thing that's surprising, and we'll get to that in a bit, is obviously we know the Aston Martin boys they've been on top this season. You know, even when we've seen them have a little bit of a fight back in Austria, they've been on it. They're looking a bit off pace, let's say, down in P4 and P5. Now, we know Ginger's on the mediums, but we've seen them a bit higher up, even on a medium run. So, is this maybe now the likes of DJ Madman, which you've mentioned, Klipskiri and Kent, really saying this fight is not over?
Yeah, we could see some competition, hopefully, for the 2 Aston Martin boys. But Tristan in chat, good to see you again. Hi guys, can't wait to watch another race. How are we feeling about the track and predictions of what may happen? I'll let you go first.
Ooh. Well, I was going to say I'm hoping for a little bit of rain, but so Spud's already answered that one. He said dry race, so I think we know that. But in terms of predictions, I'm going to say we're going to get one VSC and a safety car. I think one of both. And besides that, there's not really... everything else is out of the question. Anything can happen in the race. So I can't really say anything more. But I'm going to go for, in terms of the race, one safety car and a VSC. What about you, Bjorn?
Okay, I was gonna say the same thing as you, one virtual safety car and one full safety car, but also want to give out a top 3. I'm thinking DJ Madman will win this race, followed by Nitrogash, and then just to switch it up a little, to give not a boring answer, I'm gonna say Callum in P3.
Interesting. Right, now Callum definitely wanting to get back into the podium positions. We saw him have a really strong beginning of last week in the sprint race, unfortunately having that late collision. In fact, on what was the penultimate lap into the bus stop chicane with Nitrogash, and unfortunately that kind of was the beginning of the end, because of course then in the main race it just went from bad to worse. But no, it'll be good to see Callum back up there, recovering, and the important thing is, Bjorn, we're only 50% through this season. There's another 50% to go, starting with this, of course, as now Callum actually makes his way into P5. We're on board with Ginger Tiger, though, on his first set on the soft, and that's provisional pole. But then Kent right behind snatches that back off. 33.2 versus a 33.6. It's a very strong lap from Kent and even Ginger Tiger. But we'll have a look about his other rivals nearby. Nitrogash on a lap, but not improving that much. But back to the predictions, Bjorn. I'm going to say Ginger Tiger, DJ Madman, and I'm going to go Nitrogash. I think the two Aston Martin boys will be back up there. They've got so much flexibility in the race strategy as well to pull a different, versus a one stop versus a two. They've just got that luxury of having two cars in the fight. That I think there's a strong chance of having them both in the top 3.
Is a good answer. Now, we just saw Kent, of course, going back into pole, but I was on board with him and I saw something interesting. He was up over 6.5 tenths entering sector 3, but interestingly enough, he ran out of deploy halfway through sector 3, which cost him around 2 or 3 tenths, which, I mean, he still went pole by 3 tenths, but he would have been pole by 6 tenths if it wasn't for that. So Kent has even more potential in his car, which is insane to see. Already having such a big gap, I mean, qualifying's far from over, as, Kent locking his rears while he's entering the pit lane, almost hitting the wall. But yeah, we could see a very dominant qualifying from Kent here. We'll just have to wait and see.
Just as you're speaking, Mikey having a little bit of an issue down in the S section of Sector 1. But I think he's managed to get that going. And he's got a broken front wing. He's going to have to get that fully repaired. Yellow flag still showing down at turn 12. But no, interesting to see that as it's the Cat puts himself into P6. He's been a bit quiet actually in the last couple of races. We've not spoken too much of him. I think we did in Spa, where he caught us by surprise. Just as he gets out of the way, Ferrari having a power slide. I think that was Lionel Griesby. But he's been a bit quiet there. But he's up into P6, so good, strong lap. Unfortunately, we can't see how many minutes is remaining in the session because of all the yellow flags. But
now hold up, Alex. It's raining. Nobody will improve on their time like this, surely. It is raining quite hard all of a sudden. Okay, very interesting.
You've pulled out. I did not see that for a split second, Bjorn, but now I'm seeing it on board. You could see the water droplets on the halo, and even on the camera. It's, oh wow, Ginger's going back out. is he gonna? DRS is disabled. That came out of nowhere. Where was this? But Ginger Tiger is coming back out of the pits. But what about drivers on the lap? Oh, look at this from the Red Bull. He's absolutely power sliding at good control. But I'm afraid, Clips, that's not going to get you the fastest lap. Oh, this is Inters now. This is Inters. This is over, really. Oh, he had to avoid the pit lane even. It is. I think that's quality done and dusted. That
Yeah,
came out
we
of
don't
nowhere.
have our top 12. We have a settled grid, and there's still 3.5 minutes remaining in this session. That I think that took us all by surprise. Just on board, as Nigel Gash stepping out of the car in the pits. Look at Clips Carey drifting through turn 1 like he pulled a handbrake in a Formula 1 car, and he's drifting through the S. Just take a look at that. That is just a driver enjoying himself at this point.
Wow. We were having a little bit of luck with Ginger Tiger because, of course, he's come out. But the thing is, Ginger Tiger wouldn't have known the conditions because he was in the pit lane. Of course, they might say it's starting to rain, but not as heavily as this. I can't lie. This is some. It's not the best lap, but it's an absolute thrill of a lap with Clips Carey. I don't know what that upgrade package is for the Red Bull team, but it's definitely providing some great drifting. He's in P4. I think. Thing is, oh, Clips. It's please don't put it into the wall. I beg for the Red Bull mechanics' sake. But wow, that is done and dusted. It's Ginger Tiger. He's made his way back into the pits. Are we going to see anyone in the Inters? Maybe. I mean, with 2 minutes to go, if it is a dry race from what Spud has mentioned, maybe.
I mean, me personally, I wouldn't, because that would like change your fuel for the car. And if you're right, what Spud is saying, it's a dry race that will just mess up your feeling. I'd stay as far as away from the car if I was a driver right now, which is a very boring answer, but also a very boring truth. As Clips here is just burning rubber. You love to see it. Yeah, I mean, I have to give it to him. That is some car control.
Well, at the moment now, I've gone on board, off board with Bruce. Bruce is having a little bit of fun at the same time. He's absolutely throwing that McLaren around. I mean, thanks, chaps, for the entertainment point. I mean, they can't improve on their time, so, why not have a little bit of fun? But, yeah, that's, great car control from both of them, honestly speaking. I mean, this doesn't feel like a qualifying session at all.
No, normally at this point we have a little bit more than a minute remaining. We'd be looking at delta times and sector times of everyone trying to go for pole, but now we're just looking at a singular car on track drifting in the rain. I mean, normally you'd only see such quick change of weather in the UK maybe, but not in Texas, where we are right now.
Yeah, no, that is. This is actually looking to be a bit of good fun, to a point that I actually want to get back into the car purely and have a bit of fun as well. Where was this last night? As Bruce is giving us a good action. These soft tires are going to be a bit interesting to use, but my word. It's can he get to the line and do another lap of this? Let's see, he's got 23 seconds on the clock, but I think it's a bit too much to ask. It's just no grip whatsoever. So Spud in the chat though, meanwhile, said I'm weather app. I take it means the weather app is wrong. Maybe rain in race. So was the weather wrong for the qualifying? Could be something. Oh, McLaren nearly hitting the barrier there, protected barrier. But well, Bjorn, I mean, that's going to be the most anticlimactic end to qualifying. I mean, not for the entertainment perspective, but from the pure lap times. Yeah, that's our qualifying grid.
Yeah, well, we have our pole sitter and our full top 12 officially now, with Kent on pole with a 33.2, followed by Ginger Tiger with a 33.6, and then DJ Madman with also a 33.6 to round up the top 3. I'll let you do the full order now, if you want.
Yeah, so Klipskiri then he's on the second row with Madman, behind with Nitrogash, and it's the Cat with Callum and JPH. He's got his teammate on the row behind him with Sir Spud, and then two Ferrari boys on the final row. But for somebody like Nitrogash, the championship leader, of course, we'll get to that in a bit. P5, that's not a, let's say that's not a place I think he would have wanted to start. Of course, the rain did probably throw a bit of that in the mix, but yeah. But in terms of the drivers standing, as you can see, at the moment, bone dry start to the race. But in terms of the driver standings, Nitrogash is in the lead now. Of course, with Ginger Tiger not participating last night, he's dropped down to second. So the gap between the two drivers only around 15. But the two Aston Martin boys, 1 and 2, they've got the two Mercedes of O'Steven and DJ Madman. O'Steven not here tonight, though, so he could drop a few places. But he is on what looks to be 38 points. He's then got Madman 36, followed by the War Island. Of course, he's not racing with us. He is now in Tier 1. But his attempt to try and hold on, he's on 35 for P5. He's got Klipskiri behind him on 30, with Bruce behind on 27. Then it's the Cat for Alpine with Sir Spud and JPH for the top 10. And then Ronan in the Alpine P11 on 13 points, followed by Kent on 12. And then Liner Griesby, Callum and Mikey, the last of the point setter. And then, of course, Maris and Ivan Tonsik, the reserves, not racing, or sorry, not scoring any points so far. But just going through that list, seeing Kent down in P12, it's caught my eye. I mean, we've seen it as well in previous rounds before. He has some pace, Kent. It's just unfortunately not gone his way.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure he's attended every round though. Might be wrong on that.
No, I don't think he has. But the rounds he has attended, and just like tonight, he's got pace in that in this. It's just whether it's incidents or stuff like that. He does have some incredible pace to be fighting with the top runners and the championship contenders. So it'd be nice to see if Kent can keep it clean, keep it in the race to the end with the pace he's got, and even just showing up maybe to more races. Of course, he is a reserve, so he's not entitled to try and show up to every race. But if he could, I think he could really be in a good mix here for some points. But I'll just quickly go to a rundown of the constructor standings, of course. Aston Martin are really starting to pull this lead ahead, but they have got the Mercedes behind. The gap 28 points, Aston Martin on 102 and Mercedes on 74. And it's the Red Bull pair in P3 with Klipskiri and Sir Spud, followed by the McLarens on 44 points for P4. The Alpines then in P5 on 36, followed by the Ferraris of Mikey and Liner Griesby on 16 points. And then last but not least, the Racing Bulls of, well, unfortunately, just Callum on 7 points. And then Sauber, Haas and Williams all not scored any points. But that's the standings going into the, well, let's say the halfway point. But, of course now, Bjorn, formation lap. A lap for the drivers to get a little bit of sense of the conditions, warm up those tyres, and for us to have a little look on tyre selection. And I'm afraid to say, Bjorn, it's pretty one-sided. But not if you're Sir Spud, the only driver on the hard tyre.
Yeah, well, we saw in Tier 1 yesterday, we had also the big majority of the drivers using the medium tire. We had a few people starting on the hards, the likes of Jeremy Clarkson. Well, unfortunately, poorly timed safety car made that strategy not work out for him. But I just quickly want to talk about Callum starting in P7. the only V-Carb that is officially a driver for the team. Only scoring points last round, only 7 points, but also coincidentally starting at P7. Putting a purple Sector 1 in qualifying, and then only starting P7. So I put him in P3 in my predictions. I still stand by it. There's some potential in Callum.
Yeah, and of course, one thing to know is you always got to take with a pinch of salt is it's very different. One lap of pure pace, throwing everything you've got at it, not even thinking about any time management whatsoever, versus a 50% race here where, you know, keeping it clean, keeping it consistent, keeping it, you know, the tyre wear as low as you can whilst also racing others. It's a completely different format. So, you know, it's one thing to have a great one lap, it's another to go the distance. But only on 7 points, as you said. If he had had a decent race weekend, which he showed with a decent pace in Spa, he could be much higher up there. So hopefully Callum can make amends for that. As the driver's now parking up, and we'll get ready to go to the grid. As I'm seeing a Ferrari a little bit further in the back end. Mikey just taking his sweet time. Potential plan C Sonny Hayes, but he got the parking all wrong. 2 Ferraris, in fact, just on board. Quite far away, as you can see now. Kent pointing that car to the left-hand side. The lights are on, and it's go in Texas. It's lights out, and away we'll go. It looks to be like Kent has gotten the perfect start, but DJ Madman is having a challenge on the Aston Martin, the Ginger Tiger. DJ Madman into second place. The 2 Aston Martins now split by a Red Bull, in fact, of Clips Kiri. But that's a dream start for Kent as the Red Bull and is that Nitro Gash? Nitro Gash and the Red Bull going side by side in this first sector. But Nitro Gash gets ahead, and that's crucial for Team Aston Martin. And of course, the 2 championship protagonists in this race. Anything you've seen, Bjorn, in the back?
Yeah, It's the Cat is falling back. It's the Cat and the 2 McLarens had a little bit of contact exiting turn 1 and entering the first S's. It's the Cat was all the way up into P6, I believe, and now has fallen back into P9. Looks like he was giving back the positions to the 2 McLarens, so a little bit of contact between the 2 teammates.
I think that's up front for the lead. Potentially it is. DJ Madman taking the lead from Kent. I think Kent is going to get that through, though. DJ Madman had an awful traction, and DJ Madman having a little bit of a fight now with Kent, but that's definitely put Kent under the radar, and that is going to be potentially a battle we're going to see. And look at this, Bjorn. The top 6 all still staying well within the 1 second gap, just under 1 lap in. So we could see a battle for the lead, which is consisting of a DRS train of 6 cars, Bjorn. And as I say that, now Bruce is crawling into that, even JPH potentially, but this could be a great fight all the way to the end, as Klipsky getting a little bit close to Nitro Gas, but it's just a bit too far back. But we could have a good race on our hands here.
Yeah, absolutely, and we know the back straight is so long that the DRS will actually be useful. Even in a train, we'll hopefully see lots of position changes throughout this race.
Just on the off-board camera, Bjorn, it's so stunning to see these cars under not maximum fuel load, but still just throwing it into these S's. As I think Mikey's had a moment down in the S chicane. I think he's had another moment. He has. So unfortunately for Mikey, I don't think he's made contact with anything, but that's definitely sent him down the grid. But only 12 drivers here tonight. As Callum's having a look. Callum's having a look for P5. He doesn't get the move done, but he is sniffing down that Red Bull, the sister team, of course. So there's no team orders down at Red Bull, which is normally usually the case, but that's when a Red Bull's hunting down the V-Carb, not a V-Carb hunting down the Red Bull. But that's Callum having a little bit of a sniff for the top 5 positionings. But at the moment, as we're about to hit lap 3 of 28, Kent has got that lead at the moment under control because he's out of that DRS range, Bjorn.
Yeah, we also have our first fastest lap mark with a 37.3. Of course, also set by Kent. First car to break out of DRS. This could be massive in the long run. Um, because it's so easy with the long straight to just keep with the car in front of you. You have Mikey having his third off. It's going to be a long race for him.
Yeah, it's. I mean, 3 off in 3 laps for Mikey so far. But the important thing is top 12 score points here, Bjorn. So if Mikey is listening, which I know a few drivers do, stay in it, Mikey, because you know you could still pick up some points here. And anyway, if there's an instant on track up ahead, you're gonna collect more points. So stay in it, Mikey. It could reward you in the end. But lap 3 of 28. The crucial thing is for DJ Madman, he does not have DRS, but the driver behind him of Ginger Tiger does. Ginger Tiger having a look on the Mercedes, but not enough. It's the cat further behind getting through on the McLaren of JPH, but JPH now trying to have a look on the Alpine, but he's gonna have to settle for P9. But as we were talking, Jordan, DJ Madman, the gap was around 1.2, 1.3, looked to go up, but the gap is still hovering around that 1.1, 1.0. So it's still mighty close. I wouldn't write DJ Madman out of this. Or is that maybe Kent deploying more battery than the others to try and pull out of that DRS range?
Wait and see. The gap, as you're saying, is 1.3 now. But more importantly, the 2 Aston Martins are the closest cars right now with each other. Now we know they don't do team orders directly, as in letting people pass, but also noting that they're now on the same strategy. That is not something we have seen or regularly occur in the previous rounds. So I wonder how they're going to do this, because of course if you're this close together, you don't want to double stack, because that will cost you some valuable seconds.
Absolutely. Just having an onboard with Kent looking out clear. He's got, as we go to Mikey, he's gone off again. It's going to get bad to worse, but down that into the podium position. Ginger Tiger challenging DJ Madman. He's challenged him and he's won that fight. DJ Madman has to settle for third, but Ginger Tiger now makes this an Aston Martin sandwich. So one of the Aston Martins into P2. Question is, can he get down the charging Ken up ahead, as unfortunately Mikey has retired. It's just a shame. He even pitted, I think, for the hards, or is that because he's retired in the pits? That's probably more why we see the hard on his name. But one thing to go back to, Bjorn, is I want to say the 2 Aston Martins here, I don't want to say they're fighting for the podium. They're still going to be fighting for the win, potentially, as the Ferrari of Mikey's getting out. That's the AI. I hope he's gone out of the way. Oh, he's not. It's costed Klipskiri a bit on that. I think that put him a bit offline. He had to go on the outside line. The Griesby's retired. Both Ferrari drivers are out as Bruce picks up the first time penalty. But we've just lost both Ferrari drivers.
Yeah, and that won't be a mechanical failure. I think both of them having enough already. Also, what has happened to Sir Spud? He has dropped 5 seconds to the pack.
He is on the hard tyre though, Bjorn. So warm up and just the early parts of this race could potentially be a factor. But DJ Madman back up front, having a look to take back his second place from Ginger Tiger. But Ginger Tiger says, no thank you, I'm keeping that. And that means Madman has to stay behind for another lap. Or can he potentially send one down the inside here? Is he brave enough to do it? But he's a bit too far back. Is DJ Madman, but that's surprising as Madman actually had a poor exit there. That's brought Nitrogash even closer. But going back to what I was trying to say before Lionel Griesby retires, the 2 Aston Martins, they're fighting for a win potentially here, and definitely to be both on the podium and as well for the drivers' standings. Surely they do a split strategy. If they're gonna really challenge these other drivers. Oh, is that Madman gone deep? It is, and that's allowed Nitrogas to have a little sniff. He went almost side by side, but DJ Madman walks away with that lucky escape there. But that is really opening the door for Nitrogas to have a look down the inside on Madman. But it seems like Ginger Tiger and Nitrogas have got more pace here than Madman.
It is looking like that. You're right. DJ Madman's mistake might have cost him the connection though, with the top two, because the gap is now 9-10. So he will still have DRS though. So he will close that gap a little bit, but I'm not sure if it will be enough to keep the DRS next lap. Further back, Will Clips. Kerry is looking on the inside of Nitrogas, looking down the inside. Oh, but Nitrogas is going wide. Clips Kerry sent the dummy. Nitrogas fell for it, but Nitrogas will stay in front. A little bit of contact between the two. Might have been an end plate gone off, but I don't think it is. So yeah, a little bit of contact between the two drivers. They have not switched positions, but that was looking to be a good move from Clips Kerry. So he is in this fight as well.
And just to confirm, no visible damage on the Red Bull, so I think as well that was quite a light tap. But I'm surprised where that came from, Klipskiri. Half a lap or even a lap ago we were saying, look at this, Nitrogas is going to get a move on Madman. And now Klipskiri was trying to make the move on Nitrogas as that went on. But further behind, I've just noticed Callum 2.4 now to the Red Bull. He's dropped off a bit, so I'm a little bit surprised to see, especially when you're within DRS, it's, unless you really are not able to keep up with the driver ahead, I'm a bit surprised to see Callum that far off at this stage. Usually, don't get me wrong, it's still easily to get back up, but it's still a bit surprising on lap 7. I thought maybe he would have had a bit more pace, but he's going to have to try and fend off the likes of Bruce and It's the Cat, who are further behind there in their own DRS battle. But no, Callum just at the moment sitting alone. Someone else who is sitting alone at the moment is Ken. He's up 1.8 seconds, so for Ken, he's going to be absolutely loving this. But down into turn 12, no overtakes potentially for them. But there is an overtake. It's the Cat and Bruce now. Bruce getting back through into turn 13 off It's the Cat. But now the McLarens are somewhat sandwiching the Alpines. So this is all important for the team game here, the constructor standings, of course. But no, It's the Cat having a little look on Bruce, but couldn't get him round this time. But somebody who is close is Nitro. He is pretty nearby to DJ Madman, it seems. He is still, but not able to make a move. But It's the Cat has made an overtake. No, that isn't. That's a pit stop. So Bjorn, here's our first pit stop of the race. Lap 7, or at the end of lap 7, I should say. Bruce onto the hard tyres. Is that's too early for a one-stopper, Bjorn? Is it?
Well, normally with the normal tire, you would say that, but the thing with the Circuit of the Americas is, you have the mediums, which is, I believe, it's the C3 compound, but the hards are not C2, they're C1. The hards can go way longer than what normally would be a harder compound tire than the medium tire. And to my calculations, actually, the earliest undercut pit stop available is actually at the end of lap 7. So Bruce, watch out for him.
Sorry to interrupt. Nitrogas and DJ Madman having a scrap. Nitrogas looked for the opportunity, but they're going to go side by side still. The two drivers, are they going to be switching positions? It does happen now. Nitrogas just gets ahead, but does DJ Madman maybe get the better exit? He doesn't. You can see the rear struggling on the Mercedes, but some good feisty action going on. But Nitrogas finally gets his elbows out and gets that place off of DJ Madman and into the podium places. Could DJ Madman even come into the pits on this lap, because he struggled on traction there, and that's brought even Klipskiri into this little fight. But Yeah, Nitro Gas getting his elbows out. And now even Clips Carey's going to say hello. He's going to potentially take P4 from DJ Madman, and he does. This has been a disastrous couple of corners for DJ Madman. Dropped from 3rd to 5th. So I would be assuming a Mercedes will be coming into the pits very soon.
Yeah, you would. If you want to get back in front, it doesn't look like DJ Matt will do it on pure pace. His tires seem to have been worn out. As look, does he have damage? He's understeering a lot in the S's. Is he missing an in-play? Am I seeing that right?
He's also picked up a 3-second penalty as DJ Madman. So it would explain why he's struggling on the turn-in as well. From my end, there is no visible damage, but you could just see it in the background when we were running with the other runners, Clips Carey and Nitro Gas, as IRC Bruce picks up another penalty, so that's going to add on. But you could just see him in the background struggling to turn in that car. I would imagine coming into the pits shortly for him. But one thing I do want to mention though is, when do these drivers, the top 5, pull the trigger and come in? The important question is to see is if this is a 1-stop or a 2-stopper race build. But more importantly, how much of a tyre offset do you want by staying out 1 extra lap or 2 even? Because you'll lose plenty of time with the undercut, but if somebody undercuts you, you lose plenty of time by staying out just 1 lap, 2 laps. If you've got the gap to do it, do it. But as I say that, Kent comes in. But it's going to be the question of undercut versus tyre offset here, as Kent did have a decent gap already, so he's made that call nice and early not to get undercut. But this is important to see now. How far ahead does Kent come out when the other drivers pit? As he goes onto a fresh set of hards, not surprising there. And into a nice actual pocket of space does Kent. So this could be pretty nice for him on this warm-up lap. But now, at this moment in time, the 2 Aston Martin boys lead the race. But Nitro Gas, you're going to have to do a bit of defending. He's got Clips Carey still in DRS range, and to be fair, so does DJ Madman.
Yeah, now I would not be surprised if either one of the Aston Martins pull the trigger to also head into the box now. But if I was Clips Carey, I would have pitted last lap with Kent, because you know the undercut is really powerful. Because if I'm looking at the lap times and the delta times, the drivers are already losing around 2 seconds a lap compared to their best lap, and your advantage will be way bigger than, well, what at the end of the race you're gonna have less wear because of well, less fuel. As does one of the Aston Martins pit? Yes, that is Nitro Gas. He is pitting. That could also be a defensive pit stop to avoid Clips Carey undercutting him, and so does Callum. But more importantly, Ginger Tiger and Clips Carey stay out.
So that's the point I was just coming to. Is it, if this is a 1-stop race from all drivers here, is it too early? Is that what Clips Carey, Madman, and even Ginger Tiger are doing, or do they know that this is not a 1-stop race if they pit now, and hence why they're staying out to try and make that 1-stopper work while they know the other drivers are on a 2-stopper? It'll only be answered to us by the end of the race, realistically speaking. But it's yeah. I mean, just looking at Nitro Gas on this warm-up lap, he's 6 seconds adrift to Kent. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he was, I think, less than that. By around maybe at least potentially a few seconds, maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds, if I'm not wrong. But still, that gap has increased ever so slightly. But back up at the front of the field, the question is, when do they make their pit stops?
It's a good question. We will find out soon if they're boxing this lap. But also important to note, if you're Kent, you've come out behind Sears Spuddy, who's on the hard tire, so he won't be pitting anytime soon. As Ginger Tiger does go into the pits, what does Clips Carey do? He's following him in. DJ Madman takes the lead of the race, as
He stayed
him
out.
and It's a Cat. Yeah, DJ Madman takes the lead of the race, and him and It's a Cat are now the only one who are left to pit. On the medium tires, I should say, because their spot is on the hards, of course. Interesting to see how that will go for them. So I think they do believe that it's too early to pit, and they'll lose too much time in the end.
I'm intrigued to see just on we're watching now. Ginger Tiger struggled to make turn 1, but more importantly, his teammate who's warmed up.
Oh, Kent has gone round and he saved it. There was, sorry to interrupt, there was contact between him and Sir Spud in the S's, and I don't know how he's kept that. That was full luck. There's no damage to either of the cars. Sir Spud seemed to be going a little bit slowly in the S's. Kent was looking down the inside of, I believe it is turn 7, the longest right-hander of the S's, and suddenly there was no space anymore, and he was 90 degrees horizontal, and he's managed to keep it, and now he's got the RS. And surely he'll get Sir Spud now, but they're both out of battery. Kent looks down the inside, but he has to wait. Sir Spud either locks up his tires or lets him pass. Kent is up into P3. Whoa.
Scary moment for what is the net leader. That is. Hopefully he's not picked up any damage. We can't see it from here, but that's something you don't want to be doing when you are the leader of this race. As finally DJ Madman now makes the call to come into the pits, as Sir Spud picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that'll be added to his race time at the end. I want to see, though, where does DJ Madman come out respective to the others he was fighting with? My estimation is he will come out behind, but the question is by how much, and he is fairly behind, I'd say. Is he even going to be clear of Callum here, actually? He will be ahead, but the point being is Callum just gets so much better of an entrance and exit of turn 1 because he's got those tyres warmed up. I think DJ Madman actually might potentially lose a place down the straight if he doesn't have the temperature in those tyres ready.
Yeah, as you can see, he's just trying to take a white line in the S's to just warm up those fronts a little bit more. Callum is really close behind the Mercedes. He will have DRS down the back straight, and that will be a very high chance of an overtake happening here. See, you can always see all of the drivers are almost taking a different line going through turn 11. Now the DRS opens for the V-Carb. He will be gaining on the Mercedes. Will it be enough? Will be both be using battery. Callum looks down the inside. He's going to send a dive. And there's a bit of wheel banging there going into the hairpin into turn 12. Callum is ahead though. DJ Madman's trying to fight back on the inside. That is a good move. Can Callum get the switch back? There's barely any grip, especially if going offline there. DJ Madman takes the inside. Careful not to go deep, which, yeah, so DJ Madman defends his place from Callum as it stands for now. But there will be another possibility going into turn 1 in a few corners.
That's definitely something, though, that DJ Madman wouldn't have wanted. He's having to really hold this place. So Callum having a little bit of a loss of grip on the rear, but that is making Madman fight more than he realistically wanted to, or even at all. But again, Callum still staying with him. Whether the tyres are still not warmed up, or they are, that DRS is certainly helping Callum stay within this fight. And the gap between himself, well, DJ Madman and Clips Kiri now 3.4, 3.5 seconds. So by him staying out just one lap longer has really hindered DJ Madman. The question is, will the tyre offset help? That's something to consider, but never mind, only one lap with it. Unless we get to puncture territory on the last lap, I don't really see that one lap extra helping.
Yeah, I don't think that was the correct strategy choice to make. Also keep in mind, the track temperature has hit 37 degrees, which is more than average, and you also have to keep in mind that on this track especially, it's such a technical track with a lot of mid-speed corners. The tire temps It may be why some of the drivers chose to pit later, just because they know their wear is going to be higher on the hards because of those rear tire temps. So that could be an explanation as to why they've made that choice.
Great stuff. Great stuff, Bjorn. This is why you're in the commentary box with me. All the important information needed at you, ladies and gentlemen. But just at the moment, lap 15. It's somewhat quieting down a bit here. But something that is the closest at the moment battle you could say is between the two Aston Martins in second and third. But just to notice, they've made the right call here. The Aston Martin boys, they've gotten themselves into second and third. So whatever they've opted for, it's definitely worked out well. Now the question is, will they squabble over each other here? I mean, whether there's team orders, we know Nitro Gash and Ginger Tiger are in a chat. So the question is there team orders down at Aston Martin? But they are fighting, of course, for the Drivers' Championship. So, in all due respect, they are free to race.
Yeah, and well, they're about to race soon. Gap is 6 tenths, less than 6 tenths. And you can just see the difference in driving style. If I'm just gonna go on board with both of them, see Nitro Gash is a little bit more aggressive with the steering, a little bit more maybe even uncertain with the steering, and then you compare it to Nitro Gash taking a very smooth, maybe you can call it even slow through the corners, but his pace is definitely not slow. DRS open for Nitro Gash in third place, chasing down his teammate, and it's not close enough into turn 1.
It seems like the two Aston Martin boys have been closing up quietly on Ken. But it also seems like, maybe I'm wrong here, but Clips Kiri, has he been closing in? I think he's looking a bit more prominent now in the back of the stream here. He looks a bit closer around. I mean, 2.8, 2.9, of course, keeps fluctuating, but he does look a bit closer to the two Aston Martins. As in fact, actually, the gap up front now, 4.4, 4.2, so... actually, whilst maybe a Red Bull's chasing down the Astons, I think the Astons are chasing down Kent, Bjorn.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the recent lap times, and it seems like that both Aston Martins and the Red Bull of Clips Kiri are, all three of them are gaining on Kent. So, we know that Kent has boxed 2 laps earlier than both Ginger Tiger and Clips Kiri, and 1 lap earlier than Nitro Gash, so maybe the tire difference will play a factor here at the end of the race, because, well, there are 3 cars chasing down the leader of this race. As Kent is in. Hold up. Kent is in the pits. He is going for the 2-stop strategy. He's retired from the session. The leader of this race has retired in the pits. What has happened here in Austin? We don't know why he's retired. That is shame to see. That is a shame to see.
I mean, you caught me off guard just saying he was in the pits and then seeing that retirement. What has happened? Is it a technical? Is that a technical problem for Ken? Has something gone wrong that we've not seen? Just running at the moment. There's a nice little scrap going on behind P7 with It's the Cat, Bruce, and Sir Spud as Callum picks up a 3-second time penalty. But that is incredible to believe that the race leader has retired from the session. I hope we can get an answer while on the stream here, but that is more importantly just sent the lead of the race to the 2 Aston Martins. So their chase is now somewhat ended, but they are still potentially getting chased by a Red Bull. So what happens here? Are they going to fight it out? They're free to fight out for the driver's points because neither of them want to stay behind each other, but they also have to be careful with Eclipse Kiri closing in. This has completely changed the race. It's a shame we didn't get to see a battle with Kent at the end there. But I hope we can get a response from him if he is listening in. That's not a shame, but more of a surprise. So Spud just having a nice little scrap with Bruce at the moment. He's on the fresher tyres and the faster tyres of the medium compound, but that is at this stage in time. But Bruce stays ahead. But no, that is an utter shock, Bjorn.
Well, I have got response from Kent. Just quickly asked him in the Discord. Quote unquote, the answer from the race leader is bored LOL. So, I'm not sure what to think of that. I've just said there were 3 cars gaining on you towards the end. So we'll just have to focus on the 2 Aston Martins in the lead now. Because that is, I don't think I've seen that before in my history of Invictus Racing League.
Could you imagine if this was Max Verstappen 2023? He'd be retiring every race. He'd be retiring if that was the same thing. Checking out 20 seconds. Oh, I've done what I need to do. Let's retire. But I mean, it could have gotten more interesting, Kent, because the 2 Astons were closing in, so the action was coming to you. But no, that's well, that's an interesting response. As now Bruce did get overtaken by Sir Spud, but now he's taking that place back. But now Sir Spud's going to take again the place on the medium. Is he gonna though? Because Bruce, he's struggling on those harder tyres. Oh, he nearly loses the rear. Those mediums getting a better drive and traction. As in fact, Sir Spud did go wide and off the track there, but I think he's got enough to stay ahead. But maybe Sir Spud's going to lose out. He's on the outside. Does Bruce have enough battery to deploy? It looks to be a little bit too much. Oh, Sir Spud completely cut the corner. I think he lost the rear and then had to correct it. That's sent him off, and that's a 3-second penalty going his way. Now Bruce gets the DRS back again. Will he have enough to overtake him? It looks to be closing in, and I think he might get the move done. But will Sir Spud have enough to fight? Sir Spud takes the inside line, but I think Bruce has enough to fight back and take that 8th place from him, and he does at this point. So good little scrap between P8 and P9, the last of the runners, but they're still going to get some decent points here because of all the retirees. Yeah, good scrap between the 2. Good fair racing there.
Yeah, that was some brilliant racing. Back to the front with Ginger Tiger and Archie Gastet. They're not close enough to actually battle. And now I wonder, do you think that could be on purpose to create a gap with Klipskiri to prevent any fighting with each other?
Well, Klipskiri he's still gaining in. 2.1, 2.2. Klipskiri, regardless what the Aston Martins are doing, he's still closing in. Now the thing is, if we go to our penalties, he does have a 3-second penalty. So if he wants to get that position, he's going to have to make the overtake and then pull a 3-second gap, which is going to be a bit hard to do, if I'm being honest, with the DRS as well. It's very difficult to break away from that toe. So I think it's going to be a bit too much to ask. But he is closing in. I mean, look at that, 1.5. He's just pulled an amazing chunk of time. It's, yeah, that is, I think he's going to potentially have a fight here with the Aston Martin. But I'm surprised to see that Nitro and Ginger aren't fighting here, because they're both so close to each other in the driver's standings. With it only being 50% through the season, it's neither driver needs to be prioritised here. I'd like to see some racing between the 2 of them.
Yeah, well, if there won't be any racing between the 2 Astons, they have a Red Bull coming their way in a few laps. So you have to keep in mind also the Red Bull does have a 3-second time penalty, which well, will probably affect the finishing order if he keeps up this pace. But yeah, the Astons, they're never close enough. I've not seen, since Kent has retired at least, seen a real battle where they're close enough to actually fight with each other. Clipscary now, gap hanging around just under 2 seconds. As we're about to head into lap 21. With another chance for Nitrogash.
Yeah, it does seem to be Nitrogas does close up enough around turn 12. Then he's fairly close through 13, 14, 15, 16, even 17. But then he drops off from turn 18 and 19, and obviously the last corner. And then DRS is returned and closes back up. But then he has to take the pain through this sector of the track, which we're on the helicopter camera. It just shows the beauty of these corners. Swing to the left, swing to the right, and then back again. It's just incredible. But of course, when you're following another car behind, the damage it does to the aero and the tires, it just hurts you. And that's why you see drivers often pull a bit further back. Then they'll try and close it back into turn 11, which you see Nitro tries to brake later, and he does brake, and he closes it again. But then it's still not as close as he was before. And then the DRS will help him close back up. But yeah, the thing is, if Nitrogas is struggling to overtake Clipscary, is this... if Nitrogas is struggling to overtake Ginger, is that basically hinting, well, Clipscary is going to really have a difficult time to overtake Nitro? Because it seems like even for DRS, I don't imagine Nitrogas is fully giving it all of his pace, but I still think it's not showing as easy as wanted.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it could also be Ginger Tiger keeping his teammates in his DRS as a defense as well. If not, I mean, of course you have to think they're championship rivals, right? What do you want with your championship rival? You want them to finish as far under you, yeah. So by holding up in quotation marks, or that's not the correct English, whatever. By holding them up type thing, because well, Nitrogash can't overtake Ginger Tiger. Clipscary is gaining and could get an overtake in, and if then they battle, maybe Clipscary can get his penalty removed, and then Nitrogash ends up in third, and Ginger Tiger still ends up in first. As Sir Spud has entered now the pit lane. Is that a planned pit stop? It is to the soft tire. Now, this is also interesting. I'm not sure how it is with the regulations. Maybe you know, Alex. But the fastest lap is currently on Kent's lane. But Kent is retired. So what happens now?
I believe the point does stand. That could be wrong.
I'll have a look. Hold up.
I believe he's not obviously going to get that unless he's past 90% race distance, which he obviously hasn't. So he's not going to get any of the points from what would be a P10 finish. But that's a good question. I'm not sure about that 1 point. That point, I'm not too sure. But regardless, it's definitely not going to the other 9 drivers at the moment. But Sir Spud is basically saying, well, I'm at the back. Let's might as well go for that. But I was going to ask another question, to be honest. 6 laps to go. We've seen mediums at some point in time start to struggle around that point. Now, they've burnt a bit more fuel, yes, so the cars are lighter. Maybe the temperature's dropped as it's gone later through the race. That's something to note. But do we think that might be a little bit too early for a soft? I'm not saying puncture territory, but I think they won't be very happy at the end. As now Bruce follows with a pit stop. And I imagine a soft, and it is a soft. But he's a 1 lap. Now, in a situation like this, 1 lap less on a soft tyre would make quite a bit of a difference at the end. But do we think it's a bit too early, Bjorn?
I think the soft tires will be well screaming for help. I'm not sure if they would even last without puncture territory. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think what Bruce has done, because I think Bruce has just pitted to try and maybe get a fight with Sir Spud going, just for the fun of it. So we'll have to see what they do.
In the meanwhile, Nitrogas still close the gap again to Ginger, but then drops back so it's not really an overtaking threat, I'd say. But Clips Curie now 1.2 to the back of Nitro, but as well, we've not really said much. DJ Madman 1.9, he's definitely closed that gap to Clips Curie. But the difference is, with Madman and Clips Curie, they both on 3 seconds, so this is for position purely. So we could get quite a bit of a fight here, as we're currently watching though a fight for P5. That's Callum, JPH, and it's the Cat. But Callum, he's got a 3-second penalty, so at this moment in time, he would lose these 2 places. Oh, it's the Cat gets a power slide through and loses the rear, but he caught it. But that's dropped him just outside of the 1 second zone. But more importantly, for JPH, the McLaren driver, they desperately want to score some points. They've been in it since the start. They've just not had the best of rounds, the luck. I know Jordan's had some issues with the rear end of that McLaren going away from him. It went away from him in Spa, went away from him in Austria a couple of weeks back. But he's in P6 at the moment, and if it stands like this, he'll be in P5. So that's some decent points for him. And he's trying to chase down the V-Carb, but he's a little bit too far back on this occasion. As in fact, as we were watching that, Bjorn, Sir Spud has taken the fastest lap of the race, 36.0. So regardless if the point stands or not for Ken, it doesn't matter. He does not have that fastest lap anymore, so there's no need to worry about it.
Yeah, I was just looking in the regulations, and I couldn't specifically find anything about it, but luckily I don't have to worry about it anymore. As like you said, Sir Spud will take up the extra point at the end of this race, as it stands at least.
So here we go for JPH. Is he a bit closer this time round? He's too far back on this occasion, but somebody who isn't too far back is It's the Cat. He's having a little look on the McLaren, but he's gonna just have to settle this time round. But in terms of the tyres, important to note, Callum 14 lap old hards, JPH 16 laps, It's the Cat on 11. So that's some significantly fresher tyres, and at a point in time on lap 25 out of 28, those laps are really going to help. Those laps less on those hards are going to help so much in terms of just pure traction, corner entry, and you can just see it there. As in fact, It's the Cat. Sorry, not It's the Cat. Nitro Cash, and who's that? That should be Clips Curie. They're having a squabble up front. We've missed that. They're having a fight. That came out of nowhere. Clips Curie, though, he's going to have to settle behind as It's the Cat now gets through on JPH. But that is now a fight for the podium positions, regardless of time penalty. We've got a fight on our hands, Bjorn.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I knew Clips Curie was gaining on them, but this quickly, I did not expect that. And, well, we have an epic fight on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if also Ginger Tiger can just run away from these two, the two behind him, if they're fighting out of DRS. That could really help Ginger Tiger secure the win. If that is the case, we'll have to wait and find out as through the S as we go now.
Whilst this battle was happening, It's the Cat did get through, so those fresher tyres really proving to be a helping hand here. But up front, what this has done is look at the gap, 2.3 now. It was 3 seconds with DJ Madman and Clips Curie, but that's dropped because of this little squabble up at the lead. So it could even change with DJ Madman entering this fight. But 3 laps to go. We're somewhat getting what we missed out in Spa. It was 3 drivers all closing in on each other, but unfortunately just ran out of laps. But we do finally have a battle between 3 drivers, and all 3 in the top 3. So hopefully we get a bit of a payback from Spa. But as it stands, Clips Curie just has to hold behind Nitro Gas and have to wait for his next opportunity next time round. As just having a look in the chat, good evening to Iron, good to see you back here. Lovely to see Sir Spud in the points. It is Sir Spud. He's in the points, and more importantly, he's got an extra point with a fastest lap. Unless Bruce snatches that off him. I don't imagine anyone else coming into the pits at this stage. But have a look here though, Klipskiri. He's having a look on Nitrogash, and he does make the move on Nitrogash. He gets into second place just before the braking point into turn 1. And now that changes the complexity of things, Bjorn. Because now Ginger Tiger doesn't have his teammate behind. He's got a different colour car, and that's the yellow-nosed Red Bull. So it's that's going to be quite an interesting order for Ginger Tiger to have to fend off this time round. We've not seen him have to defend so far because it's been his teammate, but could we maybe see it this time?
Yeah, well, the gap is 9/10 as it's the cat picks up another 3-second time penalty, but also we have to remember Klipskiri also has a time penalty, but still the win on track still counts for bragging rights, which the Red Bull is looking for at the moment. He's too far away on this occasion, but he'll have another whole lap to try and overtake him for the lead of this race. As you can see, DJ Madman has Callum and It's the Cat having a scrap into turn 12. Little bit of contact between the two. Callum did not want to give up that inside space and keeps on defending. And now It's the Cat will have to watch out for Jordan behind him as well.
They're both on 3-second time penalties. Oh, as I say that, DJ Madman's picked up an extra 3 seconds. So that's going to basically take his chances of getting into the podium realistically gone. But It's the Cat and Callum having a little bit of a scrap. But somebody who is going to benefit from all this, JPH, he's still in the back of this little trio. He doesn't have to overtake these lot. As long as he stays within the 3 seconds which he is in, he's got 2 positions up for grab. So that's a interesting thing for him. But back up front now, Klipskiri, I think he's a bit closer this time around, but then he drops out. I think we're seeing now Ginger Tiger put down the pace here because he knows if he's not careful, he could have a Red Bull going down the inside, even sending it for an opportunity. I mean, Klipskiri doesn't have much to lose here because he's not going to get ahead of Nitrogash at this point in time on the penalty situation, but he is going to be ahead of DJ Madman, which DJ Madman now is having a look. DJ Madman is having a look, but he has to set back. Oh, as Nitrogash has actually gone deep. That's opened the door for Nitrogash, but the concern isn't with Nitrogash and Madman. The concern is Nitrogash and Klipskiri, because at the moment the gap is very close between the 3 seconds, as we are in fact on the final lap, Bjorn. I can't believe we've not even mentioned that we're on the final lap. It's getting close. I mean, Klipskiri is realistically not going to get Ginger Tiger, and he is going to be clear of DJ Madman, but is Nitrogash going to be ahead of Klipskiri? I think he just will, but that's a bit closer as your winner for tonight's race. Ginger Tiger takes the victory. We'll see with the penalty situation. Nitrogash gets second, and Klipskiri does get third, but 5/10 off. Super close. DJ Madman, though, P4. As what about behind does JPH? JPH does get P5 with the penalties. Callum will have to settle for 6th, and It's the Cat will have to settle for P7. Whoa. And at the moment, though, further behind, of course, these 2 drivers did make an extra pit stop. They went onto the soft tyre, so if you're wondering why they are much further back, that is why. But IRC Bruce, he comes over the line with 12 seconds of penalties, quite a bit, but he should be fine because Bruce, Bruce having 12 versus the 6-second penalties of Sir Spud. But Sir Spud, he stayed in it and he's going to get some decent points here tonight. So P9 for the Red Bull. But yeah, this is again get spicy at the end, Bjorn. We're seeing a bit of a trend with all these races. The last 5 laps, whether we do see action or not, it always starts to marinate even more towards the last couple of racing laps.
Yeah, it was quite close at the end, and like you also said on the final lap, I did also not realize we were on the final lap because well, time just went so quickly. Watching all of a sudden all types of battles near the end, all of a sudden appearing out of nowhere, just like Clips Kiri just appeared out of nowhere behind the Aston Martin's rear wing. Yeah, but it was a very fun race to watch. It seems to continue the trend of well, the Aston Martin's winning, Ginger Tiger back on the top step, as he was 2 races ago. So safe to say, Aston Martin are already. I believe they can already win the constructors next round. So that'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, now Ginger Tiger back to winning ways, and we could see once again another switch on the driver standings. But Ginger Tiger, your race winner tonight. Nitro Ash will settle for second place, and Clips Kiri makes his way to the podium. So congrats to him. DJ Madman P4 with JPH. Nice recovery for him into P5 for McLaren, so some decent points there. And Callum P6 with It's a Cat following in P7. And then Bruce P8 with Sir Spud, the last of the finishing order in P9. And then, of course, Ken Liner Grisby and Mikey retiring from the race, which was, in fact, all three of them, I think, was a surprise to see two Ferraris very early on. And, of course, Ken retiring from the lead of the race. Yeah, that was a big surprise. But just having a quick look into the chat, Iron says, I miss being a part of this grid. Oh, it would be great to have you back if you could. But of course, it'd be great to have you, but we know you had to leave, unfortunately, but for your career and all that. But hope all is going well with you, mate. J Ray Bay was saying great result for Clips Kiri, much better time management these days. He definitely came through the grid at the end there. Susbud says, and fastest lap. He does have the fastest lap, so nicely done. As Iron says, my favourite driver on the grid. So, yeah, so clear support for Sir Spud. And one last comment from Iron. Hope to race you again in Bang Wheels for all time's sake. Well, we're still here, mate. So if you ever want to join back, you're more than welcome, of course. But no, it'd be good to have you. Iron, but Bjorn, that was I don't want to say the most entertaining race, but still some good entertainment otherwise here and there. What were your thoughts on Driver of the Day? We saw the game picking up It's the Cat as Driver of the Day, but what were your thoughts?
Well, is it hard to pick anyone else besides Ginger Tiger because well he's just kept it so consistent, so quick, and so smooth. No incidents, no offs, no spins, no whatever. Just a clean race. It got a little bit close at the end, but of course, Clips Kiri always had that 3-second time penalty. So I think I'll have to give it to the Aston Martin on the top step today.
See, I don't disagree with that. I mean, Ginger Tigers had a great race, but I think I'd like to throw in a mention of Nitro Gash. I mean, he did start P5, and finishing P2 I think was a good strategic call from him. Otherwise, but regardless, I think that's all we realistically have time for. But just the last comments in the chat. Thank you for the messages from Suspect and Iron. Thank you very much. We do our best. And anyway, next week, of course, we will move out of the Circuit of the Americas, which is a shame. I do love this track, but we move over to Losail in Qatar. Now, of course, this with the ongoing Middle Eastern conditions. This is the virtual world, so we are having the luxury to race here. No, the in Qatar is a special track in its own sense. Of course, a MotoGP originally track, Bjorn. We know it's punishing on the tires, so that's going to be an interesting one. I do like racing and commentating on a track like this, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. Very technical track. Lots of high-speed corners, so there'll be plenty of action.
All I'm gonna say is I'm just gonna be preparing for track limit galore. we could see a lot of invalidated qualifying laps, and of course a lot of 3-second time penalties coming our way. So do strap in for that. But of course, join us next week round. Of course, on Monday, Tier 1 will have their race, 8 p.m. UK time, and then obviously that'll be either streamed from Jack and Jordan, or potentially even DJ Madman and Maris we could see, so do tune in then. And then of course me and Bjorn will be back on Tuesday for the Tier 2 action. But from Bjorn, any last thoughts?
No, I think you've covered it all. So it's goodbye from me, at least.
Perfect. And of course from myself, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. We'll hope to catch you around next week at Losail. Thank you very much, and good night.